despite the fact that we have said there are some real fumbles of the bag here, I'm pretty happy with these nominations. I think the Oscars did a good job.
I think so too.
In a strong movie, you're recognizing strong movies.
Sweet Christmas.
Shout out to my birds.
Hello. This is Che.
And this is Corey.
And this is the Next Time On Podcast, a podcast where two lifelong friends discuss all things amazing and all things fed in popular culture. Today, we will obviously be discussing the Barbie problem, or what are we calling it?
I think we're
the Barbie controversy.
We're going to talk about the Oscar nominations.
But Corey, why wasn't Barbie nominated for every single award?
We're not going to be the two men who talk about the Barbie thing.
It's
but
fair.
I mean, I think, fuck it.
The discourse around it has been silly.
I mean, it is silly though in general about the whole, in my opinion, the whole thing where I think Barbie was a good movie. I never really considered it to be an Oscar movie. In my brain, I figured it would get something just because, I mean, it was so popular. It's hard not to talk about.
I think our feelings on Barbie in relation to the best movies of the year was made pretty clear in our top 10 films of 2023 when neither of us mentioned it. I don't think it's one of the 10 best movies of the year.
And it wasn't.
I don't think it's one of the 5 best directed movies of the year. But everyone on the internet seems to disagree with us. Yeah,
I think best directing is, I think if anything, if we're complaining about women not being in it, I'm forgetting her fucking name right now, and I feel
Cecil Song?
Yes, exactly.
Cecil,
director of
actually know how to say
Past Lives.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, in my opinion, that should have been. Can
I anger both sides of the argument right quick, Corey?
Okay, go ahead.
I agree that I think Song should definitely be in the 5, and of the 5, which we will cover in a second, the one I think they should drop is Nolan. I think Nolan's the weakest of the 5 there for me.
I think we'll get into it in a second because we'll get into a second. We'll get into it in a second.
Yes, we will. We have a jam-packed episode and we're a bit crunched for time already, which is classic us from the start. So let's just get into it. Corey's gonna lead. I'm gonna follow. He's gonna talk about which awards.
Sure.
Or which awards are most interesting, because we're not gonna cover all
You're
of
them.
Not unless you really want to talk about costume design, which I have some thoughts on.
I mean, that's the one I think should win actually for that is Barbie. But
really?
Let me kind of
over Poor Things.
Yeah, I think so.
I love the clothing.
I think they're both very good. I just kind of think Barbie does such a good job of
it's a movie about clothes in a lot of ways. So yes, fair. I watched Poor Things and I was like, I had a moment of reverie when I was like, should I just dress like Gerard Carmichael in Poor Things the rest of my life?
See, that's the thing. They did dress well, but there were so many many costumes, and they all looked both amazing and also ridiculous at the same time. But for this, we're kind of going to stick to the main categories. We always do an Oscar recap, so for a lot more of the niche categories, we're probably going to get into them a bit more. Che, are there any of the side nominations you want to mention before I dive into it?
I don't think we're going to talk about it here, but just because it is, I love the technical awards, but it's probably one of the more minor ones. I do think score is one of the ones that gets overlooked and usually just gets thrown to big names. It's very minimalist. I never expected to see it here, but Mika Levy's score for Zone of Interest, which I think totals 14 minutes of total music in the movie for the whole movie. It's mostly silent, so I understand why it's probably not there. It's not very flashy. I think that score for people who have seen that movie is so important to the trajectory and the propulsion of the film. Equally as John Williams' score for Indiana Jones: Dial of Destiny or Göransson's score for Oppenheimer. I think that's one of the 5 best scores of the year easily, but I'm not shocked to not see it here.
Yeah, I think that's what I think it's just because of the length of it, because I think those other 5 are pretty strong for what the category is.
For sure. I don't think any of them are preposterous nominees. I just would, if I was the one in charge of all the nominees, Poor Things would have got Zone of Interest would have got a nomination in that category. But I'm not broken up about any of those. Obviously, John Williams, a legend, a posthumous nomination for Robbie Robertson, which I actually think that score is really, really good in Killers of the Flower Moon. So I don't think there's any.
Yeah. I don't think it's a bad group in that one. I hate to say it's disappointing to me that Elemental. I haven't seen Elemental or Robot Dream, so maybe in Nimona, so I can't really throw too much at it because I think the awards between Spider-Verse or Boy and the Heron. But
yeah, it's hard to get broken up about it when it is like such a clear two-horse race.
Yeah, but it was just weird to me that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which also looked really cool,
and
I thought it was
really
just,
like disappeared somehow. I thought it was quite fun.
Yeah, and everyone I saw thought it was like also fun.
Looked
I thought,
really
like,
cool.
Looked really cool, which is like I feel like if you tell a good story and looks really cool, that should be a good nom. But
I do think this is a case of Academy
Pixar
voters not really watching all these movies and being like,
no,
I saw Spider-Verse, I saw Boy and the Heron. Can I piece together 3 other animated movies from this year that look like they should be included in this category?
I have heard good things about Nimona. Like, don't get me wrong, it's just kind of like surprising that like I hadn't heard any good things about Elemental, and like
I will say I haven't seen Elemental. Maybe it's incredible.
And I don't like rewarding Disney when they're just putting out mediocrity. All right, let's start off with I'm gonna go jump through. We're gonna do acting categories, the writing categories, and best feature. But let's start off with best writing. Adapted screenplay. So we have American Fiction, written by Cord Jefferson, Barbie, Noah Baumbach, and Greta Gerwig. There's her nom. Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan, Poor Things, Tony McNamara, and The Zone of Interest by Jonathan Glazer.
I think this is 5 decent nominations. I think it's really like for me, it's between Poor Things and Zone of Interest, which I think Zone of Interest is one of the more inventive scripts I've seen in a very long time. I haven't actually read the book that it's based off of. I've picked.
Yeah, I didn't actually know it was based off of a book until like this second.
Yeah.
I mean, even Poor Things also surprised me about being based off of a book. I don't believe that.
From what I've heard, and also a book I haven't read it, I think it's like pretty tangentially related to the novel.
Yeah.
For somebody I heard say that. So I am reporting news that I have not confirmed myself, but it wouldn't surprise me if there's like an idea of that book somewhere, or idea of this movie floating around that book somewhere, and Tony McNamara really like expanded on some ideas in there.
And I liked Oppenheimer, but I wouldn't necessarily say the screenplay was its strong suit.
It's not the best. The best part of the movie is the performances.
Yes.
And I know I just said he wasn't one of the 5 best directors this year, but Nolan's direction. I think the script is is good, but nothing inventive. One that it was never getting nominated. It's a comedy movie from earlier in the year from Canada. That's like a pretty tiny, small budget. But I actually think one of the best adapted screenplays of the year was the Blackberry movie. I know I keep singing the praise of this movie that probably people are like, that movie can't be that good. Watch Blackberry. I think you will be pretty shocked at how well it's made. And of course, that script by Matt Johnson and Matthew Miller, I think was really deserving of a nomination here.
But I think I gotta say though, and I get why Oppenheimer is necessarily counted as that, but also like I know it takes a lot from the book itself, but I think this adapted screenplay seems a bit like loose in a sense to me for some of these things.
I'm not so bothered when it's like if it's like historical fiction anyway. I'm happy to just call it adapted screenplay. Yeah, if it's an original idea, I think these 2 categories probably don't need to be separated as much as they are. But if you're doing like an historical fiction anyway, if it's based on real events, I'm happy.
Isn't historical fiction? Wouldn't May December be historical?
No. Yes, yeah. It is pretty like if you don't have a specific source material, they usually call it original. Actually, when I was doing my notes, one of the movies I wrote down for snubs in adapted screenplay was May December. Before I saw it was an original screenplay, which I thought was, listen.
What about Maestro?
Again, not based on like I guess specific source material, although I don't know how that could be the case. It's probably based on a bunch of different things written about Leonard Bernstein and interviews.
But I mean, like I remember I was having a conversation yesterday talking about the Barbie thing, and we talked about how it's best adapted screenplay, and I think the argument that they use is like the lore of Barbie is so strong.
Well, this is the only one that's based on characters. So there's 4 things based on books, and then one based on a character. It's the same thing that every single sequel.
Silly though. That's so silly.
No, it's ridiculous. But I think every single sequel, no matter what it is technically an adapted screenplay because it's based on characters of the previous movie. The rules of the Oscars are ridiculous. The fixing the screenplay awards is probably not on their.
No, I don't think so either, because I think there's a very small corner of the internet like us who are like, this is silly. Yeah. But speaking of best original screenplay, let's hop over to that. We have Anatomy
This is the
of
real
Fall.
one. To be honest, I don't care about the screenplay because I think there's really like 2 movies in there that are good. This is 5.
Yeah, and I like
4 and a
American
half
Fiction,
really good
but
movies.
I cannot speak for the original novel. I did think the script in American Fiction was very strong.
The book is not good.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that. But I thought the script for American Fiction actually was super strong. Original screenplay. We got Anatomy of a Fall, written by Arthur Harari and Justin Triet. The Holdovers, David Hemmingson. Maestro, Bradley Cooper and Josh Singer. May December, Sammy Birch and Alex McKennick. And Past Lives, Celine Song. This is a strong category.
I actually don't. I don't really know. I think probably because of how the night's gonna go, and it seems like there's a lot of love for Anatomy of a Fall, deservedly so. Incredible movie. I think Anatomy of a Fall takes this because it probably doesn't take any of the other nominations. I know we're pretty far out from even voting starting, but it feels like that's where the trajectory is. I agree with you. I think this is really strong. I liked The Holdovers. I remain pretty shocked at the critical response to this movie, which I think is not one of Alexander Payne's best, which is not saying much because he's an incredible filmmaker, but I also think it's just like a pretty standard by the numbers sad dude movie. Paul Giamatti is good as the sad dude in the sad dude movie, but I don't know. I thought it was a fun Christmas movie, and I didn't really think much of it after walking out of the theaters until it started getting nominations for everything, including an acting nomination for 2 acting nominations for both Giamatti and Joy Randolph, who we'll talk about in a second. But I don't know. I thought this movie was good at best.
Yeah,
Did you see it?
I did not. I think I'm going to get May, December, Maestro, and The Holdovers in before the Oscars actually end up coming out. I ended up running out of time last night. I was going to watch a movie, but I didn't get a chance to watch anything. And I think I like Past Lives as a screenplay. I just kind of felt like that was just such like all-encompassing of a really good movie.
I think it's also that the story is so, as we talked about,
the
it's
story
like this thing that could have been so cheesy, and the way
that's
that those
actually
characters
fair.
are written is, I think, such an achievement. For me, I would give it to Past Lives at the moment, but I'm vacillating between that and Anatomy of a Fall for my 2.
I think I'd prefer to give it to Past Lives. I take back what I was about to say, but I think you're right though. I think the way that film was written, it could have easily went on paper. That film sounds like something I would absolutely hate, but I loved it. So I think I might be leaning a bit more towards Past Lives. But I think Anatomy of the Fall wouldn't be a bad film to win it. I think that's also just an excellent film.
It also may just be like my love of courtroom dramas and how I feel like they've been all but forgotten. Except for this year, we got like 3 really quite good ones. But it seems like a genre that had disappeared after really a big run in the 90s and early 2000s. But yeah, I really enjoyed both those movies. Just a quick shout out to The Teacher's Lounge, written by Ilker Katak, and Johannes Dunker, who are that movie did get nominated for Best International Film, so it didn't get shut out. But I thought that script was incredible, and also a film that did get shut out in a couple categories. I thought it really deserved it in Kelly Reichardt's and John Raymond's script for Showing Up, which, again, not super shocked, especially just based on when that movie came out. It was like, I think, a February release, very early in the year. And quite a quiet, reserved script, different in a way than a lot of these other ones are, which are pretty flashy for dramatic scripts. That is, I mean, they're not Michael Bay movies, but I thought that movie was really, really well written, and those characters, again, much like Past Lives.
All right, Best Actress in a Supporting Role. We got Emily Blunt from Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks from Chase favorite movie, The Color Purple, American Ferrera from Barbie. Jodie Foster, Nayad, Devine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. So I've only seen 2 of these actresses.
Confused by this category.
And
what an excellent year for actresses, and what a dog shit collection of nominations. I'm sorry. Shout out to Jodie Foster. What the fuck is going on here, Corey?
I never saw Nayad.
Nayad is fine. It's like a completely competent sports-ish movie. It's nothing special except for that it stars Annette Bening and Jodie Foster, who everybody loves, who are giving some of their like most average performance of their career. Jodie Foster is way better on True Detective right now than she is in Nyad that she got nominated for. I love Jodie Foster. I love Annette Bening. I think that movie is like mid-tier at best. I think the rest of these performances are, I'm not going to say bad. They're not bad, but it's fucking America Ferrera in the Barbie movie? What are you talking about?
They're nominating her because, I mean, we know exactly what we're going to see from that clip. And it's just the one
Which
speech.
one? The worst monologue of all time?
It's
where
a
she
speech.
just
I like the
lists
speech.
all the things that...
I like the monologue, but I
hate
just
the
don't
monologue.
think...
It's one of
I
my
like
worst-
the monologue.
worst parts of that movie.
Dude, you're really going to get us fucking canceled on this fucking podcast. I think the speech was good. I don't think it's a best supporting actress speech good.
Corey, who's winning this category?
Oh, Emily Blunt. She should be.
I like Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer. She's she's not really that movie that much.
I'm looking at this as I'm the Oscars, and we didn't nominate a lot of black people for anything.
2 black women in this award, though. So who do they split the black vote?
It goes to Color Purple if we're gonna do the black vote. Let's be honest.
You haven't seen The Color Purple, Corey.
I have not. You were sending me screenshots and notes last night.
I actually think, based on the amount of love that The Holdovers got, just like it's nominated for Best Picture. We just talked about
I
it.
was
Screenplay
surprised.
Award. I think Davine Joy Randolph is actually probably looking pretty good for this award.
And I do love
despite the
Danielle
fact that I
Brooks.
don't think any of these performances are deserving of this nomination.
I liked Emily Blunt, but once again, she just had a really good speech.
Yeah, and I don't think it's Emily
isn't a
Blunt's fault that
supporting role.
character is like not super
Well written.
or even just
Or
like a big
part
part of the
film.
movie.
She's
It's
like
not.
she's not in the movie until like an hour and a half into it.
Yeah, and I think this screams of like, I liked Oppenheimer. Who's the best actress in supporting role in Oppenheimer? And it's,
Yeah.
I mean, it's Emily Blunt because she's probably in more of the movie than Florence Pugh is. I think they're both
Florence
really
Pugh
good
is
in
naked.
the small amount of it. Yes, it is true. I
You didn't love the sex with a book scene? Like, you don't think about
it's one of the worst scenes.
I think about
involving
that
sex
scene.
I've ever seen.
I think about that
Nolan,
scene.
I need to talk to him. I need to talk to Christopher Nolan.
think about that scene every day. Not for good reason.
Listen, I understand that as we said in years past, like it's a lot of the nominations for the Oscars that I think fall flat. We had this in 2016 with the big uproar about Oscars So White. I think the vitriol is often directed at the Oscars incorrectly, where it's not the Oscars, it's the movies that are getting made.
It is the industry.
Yeah. I do think there are 5 better supporting actress performances this year pretty easily than these. I don't really know what's going on. I just listen. I understand. I don't want to be like, this is the award where they decided to do some diversity hiring, but it kind of feels like they just kind of threw some names at the board. I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I have any authority to speak on the quality of Color Purple, because it'd be like me talking about what it's like to live in Topeka, Kansas. I don't know anything about it. It's not a movie made for me at all. I watched it. I thought it was a movie. And I would not say that Daniela Brooks is good in it, because she's doing like musical theater acting, which is really big and really loud. And I personally never think works in a movie. I think it's good for the stage when you have to fill a whole room with noise and excitement. And when you're on a screen, when it can punch in on you and it can be just you on the screen, you making these giant, I think, cartoonish gestures and facial expressions just doesn't work. And that's what she's doing. So if that's the kind of acting you like, I think that's good. She's good at that.
I guess we'll see when I don't think we'll have a lot to say about this category whenever it comes back around, unless something jumps at us. But
I would love to know if there are people
this
who
category
saw this
disappointed
category
me.
They were like, yeah, but I would love to know if there are people who saw this category and were like, yeah, that's what I was looking for. Those 5 nominations really represent the movies that I liked this year.
All right, a category that I actually do like: Best Actor in a Supporting Role.
Well, but before we quickly, does Natalie Portman? Oh, you didn't see May December.
I did not.
I was gonna say, if Natalie Portman counts as supporting actor, and then we probably not. She's probably
They probably put her both up for But no, I don't. I have not seen May December yet. It's on that short list, and Shay keeps harping on the ones I did not see. No, it's fine. I told you I didn't, and you are making me look foolish. All right, category that I'd really like: Sterling K. Brown in American Fiction, which was a surprise to me. Robert De Niro, Killers of the Flower Moon. Robert Downey Jr., Oppenheimer. Ryan Gosling in Barbie. Mark Ruffalo, Poor Things. I'm happy that Sterling K. Brown is here. I thought his performance was really strong. I just kind of am surprised to see it.
I think in the complete opposite of the supporting actors category, I think these are really 5 representative performances this year. I think this is. I actually don't. I mean, that's not true. I think it's pretty clearly going to go to Robert De Niro just because it's Robert De Niro, and
that's what I'm going to say. Like, everyone in this category is so good, but I think De Niro. I didn't know he still had that in him.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of like. I mean, if you guys listen to the episodes, you know that I did absolutely love Ryan Gosling and Mark Ruffalo's performances. And I think.
Well, I think those are the 3. I think the other 2 are not in the movies enough. I don't think Sterling K. Brown has like 2 good scenes, and Robert Downey Jr. has probably 1.5 good scenes. Really, they're both really great in those movies, but I think they can't really compete with Robert De Niro, Gosling, and Mark Ruffalo, who are really kind of like secondary leads.
Yeah, and I was going to say
close to like the screen time of the leads.
I would definitely so I would actually argue that Gosling is like should be like up for like best actor in the film.
I think that's
he's like I think he's like the other part of the film. It's like very both of them kind of vibe.
Yeah, I do think that's probably just because it's Barbie's movie. Margot Robbie's going to be the best actress nomination that we put up, although she didn't. It was a spoiler. She didn't get the nomination. I think that would have looked worse for the Academy too if it was best actor Ryan Gosling for Ken and then no Margot Robbie to be found.
I think that's very, very fair, and I think everyone probably was aware of that possibility. But I mean, I think it goes to De Niro, and I'm not saying that because I mean I would like it if Gosling won for Barbie because I think that performance is so good, and like I think we need to it's like a good thing that we're still like pointing out and bringing awareness to good comedy performances. I mean, Mark Ruffalo also had such a great something I didn't know that he could be.
Yeah. I mean, three comedic performances out of the 5, really.
Yeah. I mean, Robert De Niro was so funny when he was killing all those. But I think De Niro, I just was surprised to see how well he could still act. But it might be one of my favorite performances from him in like just general.
Yeah. He's really tapping into the Insidious stuff that he was playing with in the 70s.
Just such an insidious, charismatic piece of shit. But like, and even at the very end of that character, where it's just like all of it, like you never like you find it so hard to truly hate him just because of how like much of the presence he brings to the screen. And like you know what, like I mean, when like he's like spanking Leonardo DiCaprio, and I'm like, Leo deserves it. Like this fucking idiot. It makes sense to me.
Yeah. I think that movie. I wonder. I would love to see what they put Leo up for. I guess it must have been lead.
I think it must have been lead. It had to have been lead. Yeah. If they put up Lily Gladstone for lead, I think they also put up Leo.
Which I mean, we didn't cover. I mean that.
We're about to get to it. Best actress in a leading role. We have Annette Bening in Nyad, Lily Gladstone in Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Hüller in Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan, Maestro, and Emma Stone, Poor Things.
And
to continue that, I do agree with you. I think Lily should have been in Best Actress in a Supporting Role, and I'm not saying that because of her performance. I'm just saying the amount of time.
It is a supporting role. It's a supporting role.
It is a supporting role, and that's like, I mean, that's unfortunately, I think that's the point of the film as well. And I think it is touched on the fact.
But I also think the thing that's annoying about it is she wins that award like in a walk, and she's not winning this. She's not winning Best Actress. She can't. I mean, Sandra Hüller, Carey Mulligan, and Emma Stone they're carrying these whole movies, and I think better performances. I don't,
Yeah, I can't speak for Carey Mulligan and Maestro, but I think Emma Stone has been like one of my favorite performances that I've seen. In years, and I
just wonder if it's too weird for the Academy. That's
what I'm wondering about. I think like this isn't my guess about who's gonna win. I just think from this group of people, I think Emma Stone is the one who deserves it for not just the physical acting, but like the emotional acting as well. She definitely brings the entirety to that character, and it's so believable of taking this Frankenstein monster who could say 5 words until the end scene where she's studying to get her doctorate, or I think she just got passed the exam or something.
Yeah. And it's a really subtle transformation over the course of the movie, which I think
it feels so believable. It's slow. It doesn't feel like it's like too quickly or anything like that. It feels like it's the right amount of time to get there.
She's excellent in that movie. I would be happy to see. Honestly, I'd be happy to see anybody except for Annette Bening, who I really like Annette Bening. I'm not trying to dunk on her. I just think that movie's it's nothing special. Also, I did some research, just like Googling after it. Apparently, everyone hates that woman that the movie's based on, Naiad.
Oh, really?
Well, I said everybody. Apparently, she's really controversial in the long distance swimming community, and people don't believe that she did any of the stuff she claims to have done.
Oh, wow. So maybe we shouldn't promote her.
That's fine. I think Annette Bening is incredible. If you guys haven't seen 20th Century Woman, one of my favorite performances of hers in recent years.
So let's just say this right now. We believe that Margot Robbie should be in Above the Woman Who Cheated. Just saying. I think that's a fair point. That's our point. Just fucking take the win, damn it. Jesus Christ, Che.
I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to talk about good movies.
Clearly not. I haven't. Once again, I have not seen Carey Mulligan or Annette Bening in either of these films.
Carey Mulligan is fucking incredible in Maestro.
Yeah, Che loves that movie.
My pick is obvious for anybody who's listened to the last 20 minutes of this podcast, and also our best pictures. I just would have had Michelle Williams for showing up. I think she's fucking incredible in that movie. Also, would have had Hong Chow for best supporting.
I mean, also the
fixed it for you, Academy.
It's fucking past lives. It's fucking another disappointment.
I am really. I think really one of the bigger. I didn't think she was going to win, because after I saw the Emma Stone performance, I was like, this feels like Emma Stone's gonna win if it's weird enough for them, or it's gonna be Carey Mulligan. I think that was the. Those feel like the two most Academy worthy winners. I think not having Greta Lee here is weird. It's weird.
It's weird. It's so the amount the portrait and not seeing that film just all over this list is such a weird.
And it's not her fault. It's not the movie's fault, but I think this is part of the reason why like having Lily Gladstone in the Best Supporting Actress role just makes all of this like way cleaner. Like she's easily the Best Supporting Actress performance of last year, would probably walk that category even if the Academy had actually nominated 5 good performances, and she'd have an award. I just don't listen. She might win. She's not out of the running.
I don't think. To me personally, I mean, once again, I haven't seen. I think this award goes to Hewler, Gladstone, or Emma Stone.
I agree. Yeah, in
that order.
And I think it's really just a question of, and it's not like an interesting conversation to be had about art, but it's just a question of literally screen time. They're on there. I think Emma Stone might be in basically every scene of that movie.
She is the
Same
main
with Sandra
character.
Hewler and close to the case with Carey Mulligan, who also just has like the third act of that movie is all about her and her struggling with the end of her life, and So I think the movies are centered around those characters in the way that Lily Gladstone's character isn't the center of Killers of the Flower Moon, very intentionally narrative-wise, which is why if we just moved her to supporting actress, put in Greta Lee or Margot Robbie, whatever your fancy is, and I think these awards end up going to more deserving people. At the end of the day, the supporting actress award, I think, is just going to go to somebody who isn't really deserving of our best performance of the last year, but
definitely should deserve some.
Should we care about these that much, Corey? I don't know. I do, despite myself, but I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't.
The
care.
Oscars themselves.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't care.
I mean, I think I picked like one of these fucking award things to care about. I don't know why I like the Oscars the most, but I think I do.
Yeah, listeners will notice that we didn't even bother to talk about the Emmys this year.
I don't believe in the Emmys. All right, let's do the best. We're gonna center out the best acting award with best actor in a leading role. We got Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Paul Giamatti, The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, and Jeffrey Wright, American Fiction.
Let me ask you a Corey. It's going to put you on the spot that I know the answer to, but I just want to say it now. Have you seen or heard of Rustin before the nominations came out?
I've heard of it. I had not.
Oh, you had heard of it? Okay.
I have heard of Rustin. Yes, I had heard of Rustin.
Netflix will never do it. I would love to see the Netflix fucking numbers for that movie, because I saw it in theaters. It came out. They did like a brief release of it in theaters. I didn't even realize it was a Netflix movie when I went to go see it. Then it dropped on Netflix on November 3rd, and I think disappeared off of my home screen. Like I was never even fed it, so I don't think they were trying to feed it to people. And then it got an Oscar nomination. Domingo's not really in contention for this award. I would say this is a 2-horse race. I could be wrong, but it really feels like this is Bradley Cooper or Cillian Murphy, and that's about the swing of it. I think those are, for me, the two best performances by
I thought
an actor this
Cillian
year.
Murphy blew me away this year, and I like Jeffrey Wright in American Fiction. I didn't take it away as like a best Oscar performance. Thought it was really solid. Thought it was a really good performance.
I don't think there's enough. I just don't think there's enough emotional variety and
range in it.
performance.
Yeah, and it's like, I think
good.
he plays the character perfectly. I just think it's like one of those roles that it's like you did a really good job. This really did really good in this really good movie, but I don't know if it's going to win you an award. Good,
and
I'm happy to see. I'm happy to see the nom.
Yeah. I think it's pretty weird that I mean, it's going to sound like a broken record. I think it's weird that The Holdovers got a nomination here. I think Paul Giamatti is good in it, but like over Leo, who I just thought was like a shoo-in for at least a nomination.
I am surprised to not see Leo. It's very surprised not to see Leo in this.
I'm not surprised not to see him, but I just would be remiss if I didn't shout out one of our favorite movies of this year, our boy Michael Fassbender in The Killer. I think he's so fucking good in that movie, but it was never getting nominated for any Oscars. It's about an assassin. I actually think his performance is great, though, but what are you going to do?
All right, we got two more categories I'm going to cover before we wrap things up. All right, Best Directing. Jonathan Glazer, The Zone of Interest. Yorgo Lanthimos, Poor Things.
Lanthimos.
Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer, Martin Scorsese, The Killers of a Flower Moon, Justin Triet, Anatomy of a Fall. Justine. Once again, I will once again say Past Lives not be on this list. Fucking ridiculous. Don't understand.
I do think we agree.
It's a
on
hard
that.
conversation.
Yeah, just because they were never dropping Nolan, or at least are we in agreement? If you had to switch out one, I know I said Nolan. Who you taking out?
Yeah, it is Nolan, actually.
That's what and it was never happening. They were never dropping Nolan for this movie it's the highest nominated movie of this awards with
and I don't think it's a bad directing performance. I just believe that there are a couple movies that are better than it.
If I was ranking just directors, I probably have him at 7 or 8 this year. I think which is not, that's not nothing. But I think it's not one of the 5 best. Listen, the Oscars are never really the 5 or 10 best things.
But I'm saying this is a
very
really
strong category.
This is a very strong category, and I
actually
don't even know.
I think it will go to Scorsese because it's Scorsese and because
I
Killers
think
of the Flower
so,
Moon
too.
is really incredible, and also because I don't think Killers is going to win Best Picture. So if Killers doesn't win Best Picture, giving it to Scorsese on the night makes sense. I don't. It's possible that he takes both, but I'd be pretty surprised. I think that movie has been really respected, but not necessarily enjoyed by the masses, and has some obviously some controversy about whitewashing. Although both of us on this podcast talked about how we disagree with that criticism of the film.
Also, they do acknowledge it in the film. It's not even lampshading. I mean, no. I don't know.
We've talked about it. I think people often in either are arguing in bad faith or really genuinely get confused about I think people have a hard time when you write movies about bad people. And I think you should be able to tell stories about bad people. Killers of the Flower Moon is a story about evil. And that's why the center of the story is the 2 evil white men and the evil white men that surround them and are complicit in their evil acts. I do think that is I said at the time when we talked this movie, it's 4 hours long. I kind of wish it had been a mini. He was never going to do it because he's Martin Scorsese and he loves film. But if this had been a 10-hour miniseries, I think this could have been incredible because you can expand on all the stories you want and still tell the story about the descent into true.
And I do know that the book is about the character Jesse Plemons' character more.
But it's a lot about the formation of the FBI.
Yeah, but I think also I would love one episode of just kind of them just real, because I think that's one of my favorite things about the film is just after a certain point it's they're all just so stupid.
Yeah.
And that's the entire the way they did crime, it's just so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna I think I'd give it to Jonathan Glazer.
I'm interested to hear you say that.
Yeah, because you don't
really like this movie as much as I do.
No.
Do you like this movie at all? Do you like this movie?
No, I do not like this movie. It is a damn good movie, though.
Yeah. I thought we were going to have an argument here. Not an argument. I thought we were going to have disagreement. I agree that I think that Jonathan Glazer is the best director performance this year. I think that movie is pitch perfect, kind of shockingly impressive.
I think that's what it is. I can't think of a single thing wrong with that film, but I hated every second. Not hated. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate
It's
it.
not it's not enjoyable. It's not
No,
enjoyable.
it's not enjoyable. It's not
Despite the fact that
matter.
I do think I enjoy it, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you haven't seen any other Jonathan Glazer movies, right?
No. You've given me so much fucking homework, Trey, that I can't go. I can't. It
wasn't a criticism. I was just asking. I was just checking.
I gotta watch his fucking face like for the next month. Oh,
David
man.
Fincher.
Yeah, I gotta watch
next
Fincher.
month. You got about 5 days, sir.
God damn.
I recently rewatched, so I hadn't seen Under the Skin since it came out. Like, I didn't see it in theaters, but I saw it recently, or shortly after it dropped. So it had been like 2014 when I first saw it, and it just got re-released into theaters up by me and got like I think a 4K restoration or something. And I watched it again for the first time in a decade, and I had the very similar experience with that movie that I think you had with Zone of Interest, which is like every piece of this film is kind of perfection. And Scarlett Johansson's incredible, and it's shot really well. And I just wanted to get out of it for every second that I was in it.
Yes.
And I think that's really hard for Academy voters. We saw this with, famously, the failure of Goodfellas at the Oscars at the time in 1991 is attributed to the fact that that end of that movie is so bleak. You watch these characters that you've sort of fallen in love with for 40 minutes decline into coke-addicted madmen fighting against each other, and you're like, if those are your friends, your family, don't go to the back of the dress shop and get killed by Robert De Niro. I don't think.
I don't know why. I feel like that'd be a pretty good book title. Don't go to the back of the dress shop to get killed by Robert De Niro.
It would be. I think Bleak has always not really played with the Oscars, and especially in recent years, we saw Everything Ever All at Once and Coda in recent years take, I think, pretty shock Oscar wins across the board, but especially for Best Picture. For movies that I think were probably, in my estimation, not necessarily the best movies of the year, but the most widely enjoyable and happy, for lack of a better word. They're really, and I don't know if Jonathan Glazer's Zone of Interest, which is, as we've talked about, obviously not a happy film, will sit well with voters.
I think it's one of those things where, like, if I was a teacher, I'd like, you get an A+ on this. I fucking hate you. And I just like, don't ever talk to me again, child. Go sit in the corner. Like, that's A+ film. Just, I get
that ending, man. That ending, man, stresses me out so much in a way that I think it's impossible to execute if your movie isn't crafted excellently.
That film gave me just straight up, I just felt bad the entire time.
I think that's a feat. That's a real feat.
I had a pit in my stomach from the beginning to the end of that fucking movie.
We talked about how Killers of the Flower Moon, which I think probably the likely winner in this category, as you talked about, made us so angry.
But it was fun.
And I've never been angry for 4 hours of my life before, I don't think. And
I'd watch that again.
Again, that's a feat. Well, you know I'm a psycho. I am going to watch Zone of Interest again.
You sick fuck.
It's in theaters wide release now, so I might hit it in theaters, but I might just wait because I kind of want to be able to like pause and take notes. And yeah, I saw it in theaters. Oh, okay. I saw it in that festival I was talking about the end.
Oh, that's right. All right, guys. The big one.
Well, actually, can we quickly, just very quickly, talk about the best international feature, right quick?
You can talk about it. Let me. Do you have it up real quick? I don't.
Yeah, I got the nominations. Okay. The category isn't super interesting, just because once again we have Zone of Interest nominated for both international feature and best picture. So it will win.
That's I don't say like give them.
It always wins. No. There's been, I think, the last 4 or 5 years.
Also, like, let's be honest, though, guys. United Kingdom International. Come on, I'm joking.
Well, I do think the rule is you could. I think it could be an American-made film if it's
mostly in a foreign language.
It has to be in a different language. Yeah,
they changed. I thought it was best foreign language feature film.
It used to be. I don't know why. I don't know when they changed that. Maybe because it. Actually, I don't know why they changed it. But
I think that makes more sense. But okay, never mind. Continue.
The nominees of Il Capitano, the Italian nomination, Perfect Days, Japan, which I haven't gotten to see yet, hasn't released in America yet, but it's been rave reviews at Cannes. I'm really excited. It's dropping in Wim Wenders' film is dropping in.
Oh, that's February. That one. Oh, man.
It looks really, really good.
You guys haven't seen Paris, Texas. Oh, that's a. Ooh, I saw that in theaters. That shit was awesome.
Great fucking movie. Society of the Snow, Spain's nomination. The Teacher's Lounge, which we've talked about on this podcast before, by the German nomination, and of course the Zone of Interest. Like I said, I don't think this is going to be like a shock because Zone of Interest is clearly going to take the award. But I actually think these are 4 I can vouch for and everything I've heard about Perfect Days. But really strong category. For those of you who are interested, I would take a look at the short list of international films that got nominated this year. I would have it wouldn't have been necessarily this. I don't know if I'd have landed on these 5, but that's just because there were so many great movies. I'm trying to bring up the short list really quick. So the way that the categories for this, people don't know the way that this category works is all the countries submit one movie, their best movie. We talked about, so the reason that all Anatomy of a Fall isn't here is because actually France's nomination was The Taste of Things, the Tron On Hung film. That
didn't make anywhere?
No, it made the short list, so it made the 15 finals, but didn't make the 5.
People were building that shit like it was the best film of the last year.
Well, there's
a lot of listicles.
There's a lot of really celebrated movies here. The Promised Land, which I loved. Denmark's submission starring Mads Mikkelsen. Fallen Leaves, the Finnish film. Very, very weird. Never thought it was going to make it, but like if you love weird shit, great. It's really like, it feels very European coded. They're all like, it's a love story where people never smile. I loved it. And then Godland, Iceland's movie, which I also think was fantastic from the short list. Go check out those movies. I think this has been a really, really, really great year for international films. I wouldn't, if we just took Zone of Interest out of this award, which is definitely going to win it, the other 4 winning wouldn't shock me. Il Capitano. It's really cool this movie exists. It's Italy, a country embroiled in like racist issues. Their soccer league is notorious for being quite racist. Their submission this year is about 2 African refugees escaping and trying to get to Europe, Italy specifically. Really beautiful movie by Matteo Garrone, and I think necessary for Italy at the moment. I highly recommend to you watch these movies. I think they're all really great. Especially if you're like, I don't usually love a foreign movie. A lot of these are really accessible.
Nah, Mick, that's a category I got to dive into because for once I've actually seen a majority of the best picture films. Audience be proud of me. All right, let's go through the top. Let's go to the 10 best film. I'm not gonna say that. The 10 best nominations for this year. Best picture. My brain's broken. I'm sorry, guys. American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, The Zone of Interest. I would be very happy if Poor Things won this category. It was my number 1 pick of last year. I don't think it's gonna win that.
No.
But I would really, really love if it did win it.
I'm of 2 minds. I think 2 years ago I would have been 100% sure this was going to be Killers of the Flower Moon or Oppenheimer.
Yes, those are the 2 feels like those are the 2 Oscar films from this list.
But over the past 2 years, the Oscars Best Picture nomination, as I said before, has been more hopeful films and also more diverse films. And the 2 things that Oppenheimer, not Killers of the Flower Moon, obviously, but Oppenheimer is very much not a diverse film. Quite white.
Zone of Interest.
Neither is Zone of Interest. I also think, again, that movie is probably too bleak for even the Oscars back in the 70s and 80s and 90s to award, much less in the 2020s. I think there is a world where Poor Things, because it is really quite joyous, it's a really fun and optimistic movie, despite a lot of its subject matter, could take this award. I can't put my finger on whether or not this movie is too weird or not, because it's weird in a different way than Everything Everywhere All at Once was.
Yeah.
Another obviously weird movie that just destroyed at the Oscars, basically fully cleaned up. So it's possible that we walking out of the 96 Academy Awards Monday morning and we're like, damn, Poor Things won every single award. I wouldn't be shocked.
If that weird fucking film won it, I would love it. That movie was so fucking weird. But
for the first time in a while, we are really in sync with the Academy. 8 of these movies, other than The Holdovers and Barbie, got mentions. We're in our top 10 or in our honorable mention in our top 10 movies of the year. I think this is I think it's the first time that's ever happened. I really, and part of that is because this movie is pretty top heavy.
Yes, for sure.
Although, are you shocked to see no recognition at all from Asteroid City, a movie that both of us really liked,
Yeah.
made by a filmmaker who's really respected. Not even technical. No production design. No makeup, hairstyling.
It is
nothing.
shocking because I thought that was a very well-made film. Apparently, people didn't like it as much as we did, though.
I remain surprised by that, honestly.
I do too. I do as well. I kind of feel like I mean, that's my thing. I think the reason I'm not surprised it's not really anywhere is because it didn't seem like anybody else really cared about it.
I wasn't surprised once we got to it, but
And let's be honest, guys. I think that Margot Robbie performance in that film is better than the Barbie one.
she was never getting nominated for that 5-minute scene. But I also agree.
I don't care. I wish she was.
I also agree with
like,
you.
What's her face could win it from the fucking what the hell is that movie? Oh man.
American Gangster, where the mom's
No, not American Gangster.
It is.
No.
It is. The mom in American Gangster does win it for like a 4-minute performance, though. She won Best Supporting Actress.
She was in a movie with Casey Affleck.
Manchester by the Sea.
Yes. Did she not win that?
Who won that? Sorry, who are you talking about? Not Michelle Williams.
Didn't she win for that?
She did, but she's not in the whole movie, but she's in a decent amount of that.
Okay,
movie.
fine.
And she's at least, you know what? I can only really picture that parking lot scene because
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
rips me to my core.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I just.
But I think she is at least in the beginning of that movie a lot before their relationship obviously falls apart.
Okay, fine. I take it back then. But yeah, I mean, at least to me, like I guess, like as the air this out, I mean, I would love it if Past Lives got this just because of the zero, like the
no Greta Lee and no Cecil song.
Alarming amount of like this film has gotten. So I would not be mad at all if Past Lives walked out with this.
I don't think it will. I don't
think it will.
The fact that there isn't a Greta Lee and isn't a song nomination for acting and directing suggests to me that this movie probably will not win Best Picture. Although we agree, I think we both had it in the top 3 of last year.
I think it really was top 3. I think our top 3 I could very much kind of go through all of them. But in my opinion, I think it's. I mean, I think my 5 might be very representative about what's going to win comparatively to Best Directing that the Oscars already put out.
Yeah, so. I think you're probably right that this is if there was going to be, I think it's a 2-horse race. Like I said, I think it's probably, or really a 3-horse race depending on Poor Things. I think probably Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things are the most realistic winners, but. The 4 and 5 after that are probably Zone of Interest and Anatomy of a Fall. I think Anatomy of a Fall probably won't do it just because it's only ever happened once that a foreign language film has won. It was Parasite, which I think was a more.
What you mean Zone of Interest?
So what? What
you said Anatomy of a Fall foreign language.
No. A foreign language film has never won Best Picture except for Parasite.
Oh,
so that's why I don't think Anatomy of a Fall will do it, just because it's only happened once, and for Parasite it was a pretty big anomaly. I think that movie was also like just much more.
That movie also was like a phenomenon.
Yeah, and it's probably more accessible to the average person. I think Anatomy of a Fall, despite both of us agreeing, really really great. I don't know if the average film goer is going to love relatively deliberate
a courtroom drama.
French courtroom drama. Yeah, in the same way that like. A thriller about people hiding in the basement. Parasite is much different. The voting hasn't even started yet, so it's silly for us to make like real predictions. They
don't give us a vote for some reason.
Listen, they really fucked up. Actually, I don't even really want to vote Academy. What I want is screeners, please. It's like it's so annoying to me that I haven't seen some of these movies yet because I literally can't. Like. I haven't seen Perfect Days yet because I couldn't fly to France. Send me screeners, Oscars, please. I'm other than the supporting actress category, which I think is like a real dropped ball and like suggests that they just didn't really.
Yeah, that was the one. That's like the one that I was kind of like, what the fuck happened here? Everything else, for the most part, I was kind of like okay with. I mean, the best actress. I got some issues with best actress.
Well, we talked about Greta Lee, but I think for me the probably the 3 best performances of the year are in there. It's not. Yeah. I think Lily Gladstone and Annette Bening probably are not in my 5, or not probably. They're not in my. They wouldn't be in my 5, but 1, 2, and 3 would be Sandra Hüller, Carey Mulligan, and Emma Stone. So I'm not too broken up about that. I do think that some of the technical awards disappointed me a bit. Cinematography, I think, really could have done some interesting stuff here, including nominating Todd Campbell for Leave the World Behind, which I think was
And
a really
also Past
fascinating
Lives.
movie, and Past Lives.
I'm gonna keep being a dick about this one.
And I didn't really love the movie that much. I think it's like a good movie that was trying some interesting stuff. But Beau is Afraid getting completely shut out. Ari Aster's movie from earlier this year, I found really interesting because it's a real
movie that's
movie.
being like completely left out of everything.
Hey, I think the production design in that movie is really great. I don't know if it was ever going to win just because we're in a year where Poor Things exists, which I think will take that award pretty easily. But yeah, I'm actually, despite the fact that we have said there are some real fumbles of the bag here, I'm pretty happy with these nominations. I think the Oscars did a good job.
I think so,
in a
too.
strong movie, you're recognizing strong movies.
I think so. I'm agreeing with you as well. But of course, we will follow this up, guys, and talk about this. Once the Oscars are over, we're going to give our thoughts and probably be annoyed just because that's kind of how our podcast.
Yeah, award season for me is officially kicked off because the Golden Globes don't mean fuck all. So
I mean, not even a full one there, so, you know.
It's true, yeah.
That's
so
true.
So did Nolan. So the Nolan boys were happy.
And she confirmed my theory at the award, so who knows?
What did she say? Did she say...
She said suicide. She said
Yeah.
suicide.
Yeah, I think...
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny.
Well, actually, they have the didshedoit.com.
Wait. Oh, really?
Well, it's the first thing that pops up when the movie starts.
Yeah, I know that, but like I didn't know that was actually like.
Yeah, if you go to it, there's a vote. So as of now, I just submitted a vote of no. It's 67% no, 33% yes. I think it was pretty close to that at the time when I saw it in October. I think the movie doesn't really make a ton of sense because it's about women being like believing women and the way they're treated by the system when they're isolated and put at odds with the people around them. For her to have then done it is it's just a different movie, and I don't.
But also kind of wild though. The thought process.
I kept thinking like once she gets back to her house and she's laying in bed with the kid, it would be so wild. Just a wild move. If they just cut to her pushing him out of the window and then ended the movie.
Different film. But all right, guys, I got to wrap it up because I got to catch a train.
Yeah,
Jay, you got anything else to say?
No, I got nothing else to say. Just a reminder, follow us at Next Time on Pod all over the place. We forgot to do all that stuff at the beginning of the episode. We were going to announce book club and movie, but we'll save that for next time.
Yes.
We'll be back.
Actually figure it out.
Yeah, we'll be back talking about some regular episode stuff. Maybe I'll get Corey to watch True Detective, which this season has been...
I'm excited. I keep forgetting that the show's out, and I'm excited.
It's just Fortitude, which I loved. I loved Fortitude, and they just did Fortitude again. So.
Corey loves mysteries. Let's be real. Like that's my one shit. So don't feel like Jay has to make me watch.
It's like a fantasy mystery too. Yeah, I think it's really
interesting.
Yeah.
But all right, guys. I guess we'll see you guys next time. I've been Corey.
I've been Che.
See you next time.
Bye.